What is up, guys? Welcome back. This is the Texas Tree Hugger, and my name is Trey. So today I'm going to be talking about planting seeds. Super easy, everyone's done it before, but sometimes some seeds need a little bit of preparation before actually getting planted. That way you can have a successful germination. One of those seeds is the Texas bluebonnet. Everyone here in Texas knows them. You've probably seen it even if you're not in Texas. Some of these processes are called stratification and scarification. So stratification, which these don't need, but some seeds do, is a period of cold, a time where it needs to be cold. That way that it knows that there's time for them to germinate. What you would do for that would be getting the seeds, maybe wrapping them in a wet paper towel, or even putting them in some damp peat moss, and then putting them in the fridge for, it really depends upon the species, but anywhere from, a few weeks to a few months. Then you can go and plant it. That way the plant responds and thinks that it passed through winter time and it's ready to germinate. For these and other species, they need scarification. And that is when you have to break the outer seed coat. That way that the inside of the seed can germinate and break through. Some processes are using acid, maybe hydrochloric acid, would remove that hard outer coat. That would also be soaking in water for about 24 hours. That way that seed coat really kind of softens up and the seed can actually germinate. This, what we're going to do here, just manually. You can use sandpaper, you can use anything. I'm just going to use the end of this implement, my Leatherman that was used to be my grandpa's, and just break up the seed coat. In nature, some ways that it happens is that the seed passes through the digestive system of an animal, and that using the acid from the digestive tract or in the stomach, it will remove that seed coat and give it, the seed will be able to germinate as it passes through in fecal matter. Other ways are maybe whenever the seed had fallen off of the mother plant and it's sitting and they're waiting through the cold and it had gotten a little bit damp and that outer seed coat had gotten weakened, and then it's able to germinate in due time. What you want to do is get whatever it is that you're using, and you're going to break away at that seed coat, and you're going to be able to tell when you're done. Yeah, you can kind of see where it's a little bit lighter right in the middle, right here, that's where the all the energy of the seed is being stored, and that will give it just enough wiggle room so that way it can actually break open. And then from there, it's ready to go. What I'm actually doing with these is planting them for my wedding. My fiance and I had decided we want to get we got these little boot planters, and we're gonna put bluebonnets, seeds that we grew ourselves, and put them all at the tables and everything. So I'm super excited about it. I'm actually a little bit behind because ideally I would have wanted to plant them in mid-November. Here in Texas, I would have wanted to get them in the ground, but I'm a little bit behind. This semester has been a little bit tough and I've been busy. So I'm gonna get them in the ground now, put them in these pots right here in order to keep them outside. That way it's gonna be easy to transplant them. So I got my seed here with that outer layer removed, and I'm gonna get one of my 4-inch pots, and because this potting media is really loose, I'm just going to use my finger, and because I'm not going to have it super deep in the soil, what you want to do here, it says seed depth 1/8 of an inch, so not deep at all. This is what a basic seed packet's going to look like. It's going to give you the name of the plant, what it's going to look like, different numbers. So the days to emerge, 15 to 25 days or longer. Seed depth 1/8 inch. Seed spacing 4 inches. I mean, they'll kind of do it themselves, and then kind of when to thin it out. A lot of times they'll give you other basic information about maybe a history and planting times. This seed pack is actually really cool. It's got a bunch of information in here: how to establish a naturalized or wildflower area, the average last day of frost, a lot of cool stuff. So I'm gonna have to read this later. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my seed, just barely move the soil out of the way, and then drop it in there. Super easy. Cover it up. I'm actually, because we bought a whole lot of seed packets, I might just put maybe 2 or 3 in there just to ensure germination. And typically, another thing that you'll find on your seed packet is the germination rate, which is what the producer of the seed will tell you, just the average percentage of your germination rate of your seeds. So if it's something like, typically it's like 95, depending on where you get it, 90 to 95, 99, anywhere around there. Some of them will get lower, like 85, 80. That's really low. That's when sometimes I would want to put 2 more seeds. But because we're doing this for our wedding, I really want to make sure that I do these right. So I'm gonna put two or more in there. Just it doesn't hurt. I can thin them out later by cutting them off.
One thing that I did not include in this video was that you have to water in your seeds after you plant them. That way that germination can begin. Just having moist soil might not be enough for germination to begin.
The reason why I planted them right now, before the winter started, is that way they can set the roots out and they can begin to grow. That way that when spring comes, they're ready to grow and they can shoot up really quickly. Because the reason with annuals, the only way that they can perpetuate their genes is by seeding. And so they don't want to spend a bunch of time waiting to grow and germinate. Once it hits spring, they get planted. They're like, okay, it's time to grow, and they start growing. And then might get too cold, and then they've wasted all their time just putting out vegetative growth and not any energy towards seed growth, or the flower tissue. And then it's wasted, it wasted its energy. So lots of other things like strawberries. When you grow strawberries, you'll plant them before the winter, let those root systems really grow and get nice and strong. And then when spring comes around and starts to warm up, they can grow and they have a lot of time to grow those fruits or grow whatever it is that they're growing. So I really appreciate y'all's time. One last thing I wanted to mention I thought about that I think is really cool. In this picture, you can see these little pink areas, purplish pink, whatever you might want to call them, on the bluebonnets. You'll always notice these on the lower sets of the flowers. And the reason behind that, it's really cool. I think plants are just incredible how they do this. So what they do is they change colors once that flower has already been pollinated. So that way, your pollinators, like this honeybee right here, here's a honeybee, I don't know, can't really tell it's a drawing, but this honeybee or whatever the pollinator is passing by, can see that and they'll recognize, okay, this has already been pollinated, there's not going to be any floral rewards such as nectar or pollen here, so I can go and move on to the next flower. And it's insane what these pollinators can see. They all have a different visual spectrum that they can see into, and lots of times most flowers with things beyond what we can see, like honeybees, they look into the blue light spectrum, like what things look like in the black light. They can see that, and they're called I can't remember right now. I just took a test last night about it. Anyway, it's like a runway for these pollinators to show them this, like arrows pointing toward this is where the nectar is. Anyway, that was a really long tangent, but I just think it's so cool that that's something that we can actually see, notifying the pollinators that that flower's already been pollinated. Anyway, I can spend all day talking about plants, but I really appreciate y'all's time. Hopefully, y'all learned something. Leave the comments down below if there's something you want me to talk about. If you have anything, please let me know, ask questions. And if anything about this video, like, comment, subscribe, and thank y'all so much. Have a great rest of your day.